Good morning. The temperatures got pretty low last night, about 32, 34. And so there was a frost warning. So we covered everything up that we had in the garden that really was too susceptible to frost. So I am just, you can see here, I'm just uncovering everything. These are tomatoes that we had covered kind of a little with a sheet. These are pretty fragile right now. They're just still pretty small. So we certainly didn't want anything to happen to them. You can see we put the rebar in there in the soil just to hold the sheet up off of them so it wouldn't break their tender little stems and leaves. These are climbing tomatoes. I can't remember the name. I'm gonna have to look at the name. But they climb. So we put them on the side of the garden with the vertical trellis. Hopefully they'll do well. It's the first time we've ever planted them. I'm going to take you into our greenhouse and show you what's going on in here. So you can see we have our tomatoes. And these are more of the ones that I just showed you outside, the climbing ones. We'll probably put something up here that they can climb. And these are Best Boy or Big Boy, I can't remember. And there's a couple Big Boy. And I think this one is an early girl. Look at this guy. He is just showing off. These three down here are yellow pear tomatoes. And we've got a couple more yellow pear tomatoes. I did have one over here. It didn't make it, so we replaced it with Roma, which I love Romas. And then we've got some more, I think they're Best Boy tomatoes here. Look how beautiful they're doing. I mean, they had started out pretty small, about the size of this one here, and you look at them now. I mean, they're really growing up. They're really liking it in here. So that is a good sign. And these are more of the climbing tomatoes. Let's see here, we still have some potted that I've got to get out of the pots. They're not doing so well in the pots. They're getting too big. So, and then there's a couple early girls. But we're kind of waiting for the weather to be a little bit warmer outside before we start, before we pull them out, because we haven't got any more room in here, so we're going to put them out in the big garden. These are more early girls and more early girls, and they need to be transplanted as well. And these are some habanero peppers, I believe. Can you see the little babies on those? These belong to our son. He's just keeping them in here until it's warm enough to plant them outside. And then these are some peppers that we have that will be planted outside as well. But like I said, it's really not warm enough yet. These are our beets. You can see they're doing really well. Really, really well. We plant quite a few because we can quite a few. It's one of our favorites. It's one of our granddaughter's favorites too. She eats quite a few beets, and she's not a big eater, so if she'll eat something this good for her, we let her eat all she can. Right here you can see the seeds to Swiss chard look a lot like beets. If you caught one of our videos where we were planting this, you know that we planted some Swiss chard along with our beets. So that's coming up really good. And all of this will have to be thinned out, but that's okay because the thinned ones become greens and the others stay in the ground and we can them. And these are the cabbage that we planted. We grew all these cabbage inside. We have a small greenhouse with an LED grow light in it in our basement, and this is where we grow a lot of our stuff. We start as much as we can. We usually start probably about March. Yeah, usually March, I think everything was started. So March 31st, I believe, was the start date on these. And these are Danish and Copenhagen cabbage. They're doing really, really well. We love cabbage. We love sauerkraut. This bed is another bed filled with Swiss chard and more beets. These are the celery that we started from just cut-offs from what we had gotten at the grocery store, and they're doing really well. We had a couple that did not fare so well, but that's okay. The rest of them are doing pretty good. In this bed here, we have some carrots planted all through here. And then over here, we have some cucumbers, and they will climb the trellis when they start coming up. You can see the garlic. We have this bed full. Just garlic is just so good for you, and we love it, and it's so easy to grow. Now in this garlic bed here, I have some little volunteers. I believe this is those little ones down here. I don't know where they're growing down there. Let's see. I believe that's calendula. Calendula is something that I've planted here for the last 3 years, and I find that it reseeds itself. Now it says it's an annual, but it keeps coming back. So I just let it come back. We will harvest this in July, and once we harvest it, we'll be able to put another short-term crop in here, something that doesn't take too long to grow. This bed has been seeded already, and it has summer squash and zucchini in it. Now they're not the climbing sort, but they are up against this panel. They get really, really big and bushy. And then over here we have more cucumbers, I believe, through here. And again, they are going to climb here. Now this area is not planted yet. Not sure what's going to go in here. And then here is more carrots. These are different kind of carrots. We have Nance, we have Danvers. Danvers are our favorites. And we also have some rainbow carrots, just because the kids like the color, and I like the color too. I don't know if you plant using raised beds or not, but I absolutely love them. This is our 3rd year with them, I think. And I'm telling you, they just make life so much easier. It's easier to weed. I don't know. I like the design aspect of them too, because I can kind of design the space, and I love that. It just looks more appealing to the eye, I guess, for a creative person like me. So that's why I do it. There's so many different things that you can do. And we have the cattle panel arbors, and we love those. And you know, like I said, growing vertically, it prevents runners from running across the grass, and then, you know, mowing grass becomes a problem because you're having to watch out for the little creepers going across your grass, and you don't want to mow those over. And that's been done before, and we just really love the ease of doing it this way. And I guess you have more control, and that's what we like. We did plant an earth garden, you know, an in-ground garden last year for the first time. It's just kind of a test garden, and I think I've mentioned that before on my channel. This year we did plant it again a little differently. We tilled it up and planted it. We have a few crops in there, and I will show you those. And we did have somebody come yesterday and plow up some spots in the pasture for some pumpkins and squashes, some corn, and some sunflowers. So not a lot got plowed up, but I think it's a good enough space for us to do what we need to do for what we're going to use anyway. This is our, what we call an earth garden. It's planted in the ground. It's kind of in an area where it's a little bit of a runoff, because we're a little downhill from a field, and so it does get a little wetter than usual, so we have to be careful what we're planting here. You can see here we have onions, and we have a lot of thistle, which we've got to go through and pull out. That's been the challenge, I guess, of this garden, is all of the thistle. It's been tough to try and plant in here because each year we get thistles. Now, I've read that the thistles come in soil that needs help. And they'll go away once the soil has returned to good soil. So we have less thistles than we had before, so we're hoping the soil is getting better. Now, these are all onion sets. They're just a little bulb that we planted, and they're doing rather well, actually. See some more here. And over here we have some slips. Now the difference is the sets are little bulbs and the slips are little tiny, they look like blades of grass almost, and we just stick those down into the soil. Who knew that the worms would be such a challenge for me, but every morning I've been out here checking on these and putting them back in their respective places because the worms have turned them over. Now, on the other side, we have two more, I want to call them rows, but they're kind of like beds with 2 rows each in each bed. Those are for green beans and yellow beans. And I don't know if they've broken ground yet. I'm looking here to see if they've broken ground, and they have not. I don't see where they have. We do soak our bean seeds before we put them in the ground. We usually soak them for about 24 hours. I don't see them. They've been in the ground for a few days, so we'll give them a little bit more time. And over here in the pasture, you can see we had someone dig up. We had them till up, I guess I shouldn't say dig up. We had them till up a very long row. And we're going to plant that with pumpkins, squashes. I'll put some ornamental corn in there and some sunflowers, I think. For the ornamental corn, I think, is just fun for, seasonal decoration. And the sunflowers are really great for the chickens. This doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty good, actually. When Alan, the guy who plowed it up, when he tilled this all up, it was pretty clumpy. He had a rough time with it, but he did a super job with it. I do still need to water some trees because we did plant some new trees this year. We had some that we planted last spring, and they did not do so well through the winter. So we pulled those up this spring and planted some more, about 9 of them. We're trying to grow a tree hedge of sorts, just kind of, it gives our son more privacy in his backyard, honestly. And, we're kind of in his backyard. So we thought we would do it for that reason, and it looks good. Some have been here and some we, like I said, replaced. So I've got to water some of these and just kind of check in on them. They're doing pretty good. This is one that we had planted this spring, and you can see it's already got some new growth on it. So that's a good sign. And this one as well. Look at all the new growth on this one. And look at this. This is a hawthorn tree, and I love hawthorn trees. It has just, I don't know, it's a volunteer. It just grew here. We do have a hawthorn tree on the property, but it is a long ways away from this one. So I'm not sure how this one came to be here, but we absolutely love the hawthorn tree. And I want to show you. Can you see these long thorns? See this? That is a very sharp, long thorn. I mean, you think roses are sharp? These thorns are unbelievable. Look at them. Way back in the day, they used to use these for sewing. Put a hole in the end of it, and that tip is so sharp it would go through fabric. We like to use the flowers and the leaves. They're all edible. We dry them and use them for tea through the winter. They're very medicinal. They're very heart healthy. The hawthorn tree is great for your heart. It helps everything to do with your heart, even a broken heart. apple trees and pear trees. The pears are the bald guys. They are just, I think they're refusing to leaf out because it's been too cold. When I came out this morning, I don't remember if I told you or not, but it was 47 degrees. And I don't know that it's warmed up a whole lot. It's supposed to be in the high 60s today, but I'm not sure. This wind is pretty cold. I hope you enjoyed my little garden tour and update of how the garden's doing. And I've gotten a few questions on what is growing or how things are growing in the greenhouse and the hoop house. So that's everything so far. I'll try to update you again mid-season and as we plant more and get more in the ground. I do have a kitchen garden over here. I'll show you in another video. That's doing well. And I have some flowers that I've planted and so many things going on. We are busy, busy, busy. Still canning, and there's always lots to do. And right now, I'm going to close out this video because behind me, you can see our screen porch. I'm doing a little makeover. So that will be coming up in another video. So make sure you're subscribed and click your notification button so you'll know when I post that video. Thank you for joining me today. I create 2 new videos every week on simple living, homestead grown, and all things home. And until next time.